Emma Thompson, who's a British actress who's had a pretty successful career, she was recently kind of like on this panel or something during like a conference, and she brought up the fact that the word content, as an actress, as an artist herself, she hates the word, man. She said that it is a rude word. She said, I do not like the word content. It makes me feel like stuffing inside of a sofa cushion.
The big question is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be an artist or do you want to be a content creator?
They're gonna feel like you wormed your way into their brain.
But yeah, I think there's this pressure to be this funny, zany, performative person online. And why I think it's not good is that it's shifting artists' focus to performing as opposed to thinking.
What would the Sistine Chapel look like if Michelangelo did 3 easy hacks in 5 minutes?
What does freedom mean to you?
Freedom is inside of me. It means that I'm not hung up with anybody's idea of how I should be. I'm outside of society. I'm an artist. I don't give a shit.
Hustlers of the world, there is one mark you cannot beat, the mark inside. Most people online don't want to know the truth about art. They don't understand or want to know the difference between art and artwork. Some confuse the creation of art for content because they want permission. Permission to be lazy, permission to skip the struggle, to post something pretty or cute. And most of all, they're vying for your approval. Approval by doing something viral, a stunt, a trend, when in reality, it's nothing more than an enticement for engagement and monetization. This is not the practice of how to make great or good art. If you ask yourself a question, what do you want your art to say about you? What does the art that you create right now say about you? Is it content or is it art? Do you want your art to be viewed as a trend or do you want it to be transcendent?
Dun, 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 dun. We created it. Let's take it over.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Henry Haight. I'm a multidisciplinary artist and thank you for visiting and welcome. Today's topic is art versus content. And what's the difference? And the reality is there are lots of videos out there that are content for educational purposes showing the skill of art. But those get pushed back in the algorithm of YouTube and other social media platforms. And the ones that are at the forefront are creations of artworks rather than art. I guess one of the things that I question is that what does that say about our culture and society today? If you look online and you ask 100 working artists how to become a successful artist, each will give you a different answer. Art YouTube gurus will give you a different answer. Yet you'll be in negative balance and still not know how to make great art. This is where we dive in. Where do you find yourself in trying to find your visual vocabulary? Is it with the herd, or do you fear breaking free from the gospel of an art YouTube guru with minimal experience in the art field or art market? Yet they contain all the traffic to keep you tied to a device as opposed to learning and mastering what great art is. We live in a time where content creators talk more about making money, how to get rich in 30 days, 6 weeks, a month, a year, more so than working artists. Working artists rarely talk or discuss money, and that should disturb you, because the moment art becomes content, it dies. Like artists already don't have it hard enough to try to actually compete with art YouTubers trying to cash in for quick monetary gain. I'm going to be honest, some of these content creators will come across so desperate, they make sex workers look emotionally stable. I'm just saying, just saying. Christ almighty. At least with sex workers, you know they're on the whole stroll and there is no bullshit. Do I sound vulgar? Good. Unlike content, this video allows you to look at the bigger picture, like a painting in a gallery or museum. When confronted with an artwork, you study the artist's hand. You study their actions. It tells you a story of where the artist has been, what they're thinking, what they're feeling. The emotion, each brushstroke tells a secret, a lesson, a lifeline into the knowledge of that artist. Content is purely for engagement, to keep you hooked, to keep you distracted, and to keep you guessing, all for money. Art is made for the artist to share with the world. Content is slightly different. Some could be very artistic in their content creation. The big question is, Who do you want to be? Do you want to be an artist or do you want to be a content creator? Now, most of you are probably thinking, Henry, you're making content, so what's the difference? Well, I treat this channel more like an archive of my work so that I could see, hopefully in a time capsule, that what my art does, my thoughts and processes. Unlike the masters, we're just told from second guessing. And I'm trying to share my experience of an art school dropout for free to others and paying it forward. I just want to help that beginning artists think, well, if he did it, so can I. And see art from a different perspective. Make them have their own artistic revolution. Somewhere between the invention of followers and views, people stopped asking what art is. Sure, that is a question that is on everyone's lips, but everyone has a different answer. But it starts to be watered down and diluted into content because nobody wants to admit the truth. Not everything you create is art. Again, I'm going to repeat it again. Not everything that you create is considered art, including my own work. Sometimes I think my work is shit, and I'm not ready to release that. But that's a different topic on another hand. So, expressing yourself with a ring light is not enough. Pretty is not the fucking point. Cute is not the fucking point. Art is to make people think, stop in their tracks, and see a different perspective at the world at large. It's to make people react, good or bad. It is to make them think and see your declaration of how you view the world and your story. Your story, my story. It's how we actually, that is the purpose of an artist, is to tell our stories. Content is to lead in, to linger, breadcrumb, gaslight, click, whatever, bells and whistles. And it is being drilled down. Content creators are slaves to an algorithm. They formulaic and everything starts to be diluted and look the same. The internet has turned self-expression into a participation trophy. Now, if you dare say this isn't art,
Look at her. Now she gonna be ashamed of herself coming out looking like that.
people scream gatekeeper, as if taste, skill, highly polished work, and the evolution of technique are crimes now. It is just criminal and pretty fucking sad. Meanwhile, every algorithm puppet with a paintbrush calls themselves a creative.
God, if they were talented and creative, they wouldn't need me.
Not an artist, a creative, which is just a safe word for people who conform without really delving into their story. A distraction covered in beige. And I hate beige. This is how mediocrity begins. Because that title artist comes with responsibility. I truly believe that. To be called an artist, you have a responsibility, not only to yourself, to the world, but to your art. It is a commitment. Not a trend, not some blue fucking ribbon banner that you win at a country fair, not some engagement trophy. A commitment. A lifelong commitment. If I sound fucking delusional or even, what's the word, pretentious, fuck you. That's how I feel. So, the job of an artist is to tell the fucking truth. First and foremost. To be honest, to stop people in their tracks. To catch lightning on a canvas. And rock the fucking color palette.
That is what I do to this day. Whatever medium I pick up on, I'm always looking backwards and forwards. I just go around museums and I go, yeah, like that, I'll do one of them. And that's how I operate. And I've never worried about being original. Because, I don't know, originality, as they say, is for people with short memories. I operate on what I call the Chinese whispers track. You know, I copy something and get it a bit wrong so it becomes something new.
People may not agree with you, may not agree with your art, may not like it, that's fine. You will find those people. But you give your perspective painstakingly so. You stay with that work and slave over it to really hone your craft. Start a dialogue. You can film your process. People observe. Only a minor fraction of your viewership will understand what you were actually doing by simply watching you work.
Get my inspiration from tradition.
Not in a hack, not in 3 lessons, not in a month, not in a year. Or it may take a year that you sharpen stuff, but God damn it, it takes time. Okay? Chapter 2. Let's clarify this once and for all. Art is a process, a war with meaning, form, emotion, time, and truth. Artwork is the evidence, the artifact left behind after the process and struggle and the vocabulary of a time when an artist was conveying what is happening. So what prompted me to make a video on this topic? Well, specifically, I believe there's a lot of misinformation. And then upon doing my research of trying to figure out my research on the subject of content and art, and YouTubers who had channels virtually trying to pursue their passions, I found that some virtually have just stopped. And for whatever reasons, after a 2-year mark or so, I found that they've just kind of flatlined. My issue, not with the art community, but particularly YouTubers where they promise 30 days, and some schools and art advisors promise this, where it's in the art market itself, there's a downturn. And right now, families are having it hard with about to lose their medical insurance, barely afford to eat, and younger people trying to entice viewership and engagement through content for monetization as well as views with misinformation. And on the second part, I'm going to do some math and all that, but this really chafes my ass, because in my 35 plus years of doing this, it wasn't always wine and roses, and it wasn't always cha-ching. And I think even now with smartphones and a more impressionable generation, they can become disillusioned very, very quickly. And I'm going to sound like an old fuddy-duddy, like my dean at my art school saying only 2.5% of you are going to make money doing art. However, it's that one individual that says, yeah, I'm going to do this. That's why I'm making this video. And as the gentleman stated earlier in this video, is art and content on a spectrum? Yes and no. I believe there are certain highly creative people who are great at storytelling, like Casey Neistat and a few others. And I believe that there are YouTubers on this platform that are incredible artists, highly skilled, but they too, Andrew Tischler stated that he invested $100,000 into a gallery, and virtually he's shuttered because he's not sold a single painting. I went through a period where I went through 2.5 years of not selling anything. And as an artist, as a working artist, you sit there and think, what the fuck am I doing? And you kind of have to recalibrate, because there is no clear line to success. And for that, I think that is essentially my purpose for this. I may seem pretentious and gatekeeping for being so, rigid in my belief on what an artist is. I think there are great content creators out there. Yes, they're damn good at telling a story and a visual to get your attention. And hey, that isn't me, but I feel that if you truly master your art and it stops traffic, that's half the battle. You could be weird, and some gallery dealers love that mistake of you don't have to, it's worked to my benefit where I've just been like in a foul mood and my dealer's like, good, you don't have to talk to anybody, just that adds mystery to it. Like I said, artwork, artist, story, to each his own. So that is the mathematical equation that a lot of people try to master, in a sense, which is difficult because just a lucky few and the persistent, I'm saying it again, the persistent do it. But I think that the integrity of an artist has to ask themselves, to what parts am I willing to do and what parts am I willing to hold tight to my ethics of being, not selling out, but just like, look, these things are like, I'm not gonna like dance around my studio and do the white guy over by and all that shit, because you're playing to an audience rather than just being yourself. And I think that if you are asking yourself this, to be serious about your art creation, your art practice, I look at content as a necessary evil. It can be a marketing tool. And sometimes I wish that some art YouTubers wouldn't make art so disposable, because we now live in we live in fast fashion, fast content, a formula of how to hook someone, and that is a shame, because you want to stop. When you look at a masterpiece, you want to take it in for a while and just sit with it. When I was a little boy, I remember in my history book seeing a painting of, or I thought was a painting of Napoleon being crowned, and seeing one of the vicars with this face. And years later, I was in Versailles near the Hall of Mirrors, and that was on the wall. And I remember looking at that face and thinking as a little boy, oh my God, I'm standing in front of this fucking thing. And I sat there for 10 minutes just staring at it, just like, because it's just so fucking huge. And I marveled, because you're not going to be in Venice. It's not like I go kick it. And, I've been to Paris several times, but I'm just like, going to Versailles is a trek on its own, but it was kind of like a once in a lifetime thing. And I just remember thinking how great that is. That is the magic of art. I don't think content can inspire people, yes, to a degree. But we have to ask ourselves how do we get in between that fine line to be great artists, be creative, express our ways in different, and rather than try to pitch these fast tracks and over promising, which is a shame, because it's really unfair, because I think it would discourage people who could develop the talent because out of frustration, because they're making money as a content creator, right? And my art career is not happening. This is the thing. You ask 100 artists how to make money as an artist, how to keep going as an artist, they will each give you a different view and point of view and perspective. There is no right way, no clear path, but you have to have discipline, resilience, and just hone the work. Likability is one thing. I've definitely given people reasons not to like me, but don't give a shit. No hair, don't care. So, with that, I'm going to shut up, and I'm going to let you guys think for yourselves, and let me know what type of artist or content creator you want to be. Yeah. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button if you want to know all the updates and stuff, and keep watching, people. Keep creating. Thank you for watching. Thank you for visiting. Look after yourselves. Take care of yourselves. Be good. Peace out.
Your car? Oh no!